Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, a long, long time ago, a queen had a president as her guest. She served this dignitary a delightful dish from her family's past. The queen was so kind, she soon shared her family recipe with the president. This fun, true fairy tale is the story of how Queen Elizabeth and President Dwight Eisenhower shared some pancakes together and the recipe of those delicious pancakes. Today on Forgotten Cookbooks. Keep in mind, all the recipes we go through today can be found on our website, moderndayfoodie.com. And we'll also put a link to each recipe in the description of this video. In 1959, the Queen hosted former U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower and his family at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. During his visit, her family's recipe for drop scones were served. The president must have raved about the pancake-like scones, also known as Scottish pancakes, because a year later, the Queen had the recipe typed up and sent to Eisenhower. And this recipe is now in the National Archives, along with letters from Queen Elizabeth to Dwight D. Eisenhower. In this letter, she says, "Dear Mr. President, seeing a picture of you in today's newspaper standing in front of a barbecue grilling quail reminded me that I had never sent you the recipe of the drop scones." She goes on to say, though the quantities are for 16 people, when there are fewer, I generally put in less flour and milk, then use the other ingredients as stated. So let's go take a look at the Queen's recipe for drop scones. And look at some of these ingredients that you may not be familiar with. The recipe itself is on a document that has the header menu. Not sure why it has this particular heading to it or not, but it basically says drop scones. The ingredients are 4 teacups flour, 4 tablespoons castor sugar, we'll come back to that, 2 teacups milk, 2 whole eggs, 2 teaspoons bicarbonate soda, we'll come back to that, 3 teaspoons cream of tartar, and we'll also come back to that, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter. She says in her instructions, beat eggs, sugar, and about half the milk together. Add flour and mix well together, adding remainder of milk as required. Also bicarbonate and cream of tartar. Fold into the melted butter. And then she has handwritten on the bottom, enough for 16 people. So let's go back to some of these ingredients. So these scones are not like the scones Americans are used to eating. Drop scones, also known as Scottish pancakes, are flat, fluffy, and cake-like, and they're traditionally eaten with tea. They resemble thick pancakes. Drop scones are often eaten with butter, honey, maple syrup, and jam, sometimes some sour cream or yogurt on top. These ingredients that she calls for are what makes it so fluffy, that cream of tartar, that 2 teaspoons of bicarbonate. So let's go over some of these ingredients, but let's first start with castor sugar. What is castor sugar? Well, basically, it is baker's sugar. And baker's sugar is like an ultra-fine granulated cane sugar. So castor sugar is one of those ingredients unfamiliar to most Americans. Castor sugar is super finely ground granulated sugar, which is the same as baker's sugar here in the States, but it's not as fine as powdered sugar. In the United States, you can find it in most grocery stores in the sugar section. I often use baker's sugar myself to sugar the rim of cocktail glasses for specialty drinks like a lemon drop. It's perfect for like a lemon drop. Castor sugar is often seen in the United Kingdom and Australian baking recipes for cookies, cakes, and shortbread. Despite its name, cream of tartar is a dry, white, powdery acid, not a cream at all. It is a natural byproduct of all things the wine-making process. It is the sediment left behind during grape fermentation. Who knew? So the common uses are things such as stabilizing egg whites. So it helps eggs hold together their shape and volume in recipes like meringues and souffles and angel food cake. It also will help prevent crystallization. So adding it to a sugar syrup or caramels or frosting, it prevents the sugar from forming large, crunchy crystals in the mixture and gives you a smoother texture. I have always was taught by my grandmother to use it in like an icing. So like if you're making like a lemon icing to put over a cake, like a bundt cake, she used to always put cream of tartar in that icing. It's also a leaving agent. So when mixing with baking soda, which we are going to be doing here, it creates a chemical reaction that produces carbon dioxide, and it's helping the baked good rise. It also can help with flavor and texture. So such as in a snickerdoodle, it provides that signature tangy bite and chewy texture that you find in a snickerdoodle. So a lot of snickerdoodle cookie recipes will call for cream of tartar. The Queen calls for cream of tartar in her recipe, and so that's what it gives it that great fluffiness and is helping it to rise. Because some of these recipes that are out there for Scottish pancakes, they have a self-rising flour that they call for, and they don't call for cream of tartar. And this is why we're actually putting the cream of tartar in this recipe rather than using a self-rising flour. And if you haven't figured out yet, the bicarbonate soda that she calls for, the one that we need to help the cream of tartar, is baking soda. The Queen also uses the term teacup in her recipe. A teacup in the recipe is a half a cup in an American kitchen. So 2 teacups equal 1 cup in American terms. 4 teacups would be 2 cups in American terms. I've actually converted these terms and these measurements for you on my website, moderndayfoodie.com. So there you have it, Queen Elizabeth's recipe for drop pancakes. Let us know what you think in the comments, and let us know if you've ever tried these or made them yourselves. We invite you to watch all our vintage recipe videos, from our Eating Like a President series to browsing vintage cookbooks.